Welcome back to Demolition Worker, where today we begin the highly complex topside dismantling process on this massive offshore oil rig structure. The area is finally stabilized, and our dedicated team is ready to tackle the challenging removal of heavy tanks and auxiliary equipment. Space on the platform is extremely limited, forcing our crew to carefully maneuver specialized mini excavators directly onto the crowded drilling deck. A massive logistics crane slowly lowers these compact machines onto the metal grating, demonstrating incredible precision over the deep blue ocean waters. Workers immediately begin securing the newly arrived equipment, ensuring every single machine is perfectly positioned for the dangerous cutting tasks ahead today. The first major target is the gigantic oil separation tank, a massive steel beast that has processed thousands of barrels over decades. Handheld plasma cutters are ignited, sending brilliant showers of bright orange sparks cascading downward against the beautiful backdrop of the open sea. The extreme heat of the plasma easily slices through the thick steel walls, separating the heavy exterior panels from the main structure. Each precise cut requires absolute focus, as the operators must maintain a steady hand despite the constant ocean winds hitting the platform. Notice how the bright sparks beautifully contrast with the deep blue waves below, creating a cinematic display of industrial power and nature. Once a large metal segment is fully detached, the logistics crane moves in to securely hook the heavy piece for immediate lifting. Calculating the exact center of gravity is absolutely crucial here, as a single mistake could easily unbalance the entire weakened rig structure. Engineers carefully analyze the load distribution before giving the final signal, ensuring the crane lifts the massive steel plate smoothly and safely. The heavy steel chunk rises gracefully into the sky, leaving behind a gaping hole in the once solid oil separation tank body. Down below on the deck, mini excavators use their powerful hydraulic arms to clear away smaller debris and sharp metal fragments. This coordinated dance between human operators and heavy machinery highlights the incredible skill required for safe offshore demolition work in harsh environments. Moving on to the next section, the team targets the old air compressor units packed tightly into a very narrow steel corridor. The limited working space makes it nearly impossible to use larger tools, so the crew relies entirely on their handheld plasma torches. Sparks fly once again as the workers carefully slice through the rusted mounting bolts, holding the massive compressor firmly to the floor. It is a slow and methodical process, requiring immense patience and physical endurance from every single worker operating in this difficult environment. Aerial drone footage reveals the sheer scale of the operation, showing tiny figures working diligently atop the massive floating steel island structure. From this high vantage point, we can truly appreciate the meticulous peeling away of complex machinery layers happening across the entire deck. The logistics vessel waits patiently nearby, its massive deck slowly filling up with the discarded pieces of the dismantled topside equipment sections. Clear communication between the deck workers and the crane operator is maintained constantly via radio to ensure absolute safety during every lift. Even a slight miscommunication could result in a catastrophic accident, making their flawless teamwork the most important aspect of this entire operation. Another massive steel plate is lifted away, further reducing the overall weight, pressing down on the aging and fragile offshore platform legs. This strategic weight reduction is the primary goal today, preparing the main structure for the critical repair phases scheduled for next week. The mini excavators pivot smoothly, grabbing twisted metal pipes and carefully stacking them into designated scrap piles for easier removal later today. Every single piece of debris must be accounted for, ensuring the deck remains completely clear of any dangerous tripping hazards for workers. The plasma cutters continue their relentless work, slicing through thick industrial pipes as if they were made of nothing but soft butter. The intense glow of the cutting torch illuminates the tired but determined faces of the demolition crew working under the blazing sun. We are witnessing a perfect combination of raw industrial power and precise engineering calculations, executed flawlessly by a team of dedicated professionals. A large section of the exhaust system is finally separated, dangling briefly before the crane safely swings it over to the ship. The sea below remains calm, providing a beautiful and serene contrast to the loud, violent destruction happening constantly on the metal deck. Workers take a brief moment to hydrate and assess their progress, looking over the newly cleared areas with a sense of accomplishment. The removal of these heavy topside components significantly alters the visual profile of the rig, making it look surprisingly bare and open. Now, the team shifts their focus to a massive ventilation unit that has been welded directly into the primary structural support beams. This particular extraction requires extreme caution, as cutting too deeply could accidentally compromise the integrity of the underlying steel support framework completely. The lead engineer steps in to personally mark the exact cutting lines, using bright yellow paint to guide the plasma torch operators. Following the painted lines precisely, the cutter unleashes a concentrated beam of superheated plasma, slicing through the metal with absolute pinpoint accuracy. Molten slag drips down onto the protective fire blankets positioned below, preventing any accidental fires from breaking out on the crowded deck. The crane lowers its heavy hook once more, ready to claim another massive chunk of the dismantled ventilation system from the rig. Riggers quickly attach the heavy-duty lifting chains, double-checking every single connection point to guarantee maximum stability during the upcoming lift. With a loud mechanical groan, the massive crane hoists the bulky ventilation unit into the air, successfully clearing another major obstacle today. The mini excavators immediately roll into the newly open space, using their heavy buckets to scrape away decades of accumulated industrial grime. It is incredibly satisfying to watch the chaotic jumble of old machinery slowly transform into a clean, organized, and entirely empty deck. The sun begins its slow descent toward the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the tired but highly efficient demolition crew. Despite approaching evening, the work continues without pause as the team races against the clock to finish the scheduled topside removal. Another massive oil separation tank is targeted, requiring multiple workers to coordinate their plasma cutting efforts simultaneously from different sides and angles. The simultaneous cuts create a spectacular visual display, with multiple streams of glowing sparks raining down like a beautiful industrial fireworks show. This synchronized cutting technique ensures the massive tank separates evenly, preventing any sudden shifts in weight that could endanger the nearby workers. The crane operator watches intently from his cabin, his hands resting lightly on the controls, ready to react instantly to any changes. As the final piece of metal is severed, the crane takes the full weight of the tank, lifting it smoothly and steadily. The sheer size of the tank becomes apparent as it swings over the water, dwarfing the workers standing safely on the deck. It is gently placed onto the deck of the logistics vessel, joining the growing collection of dismantled machinery parts and steel scrap. With each successful lift, the offshore platform breathes a sigh of relief, shedding tons of unnecessary weight from its tired steel legs. The deck is now noticeably more spacious, allowing the mini excavators to move around with much greater freedom and speed than before. They quickly gather the remaining loose debris, sweeping the area clean and preparing the surface for the final stages of today's operation. The crew moves on to dismantle a series of smaller auxiliary pumps, task that requires precision rather than sheer brute force. Using smaller cutting tools, they carefully sever the intricate network of pipes connecting the pumps to the main rig fluid distribution system. Every pipe must be securely capped and sealed to prevent any residual toxic chemicals from accidentally leaking out onto the clean deck. Environmental safety is always a top priority on these demolition projects, and the crew takes every necessary precaution to protect the ocean. The severed pumps are manually loaded into large steel transport baskets, which are then quickly hoisted away by the waiting logistics crane. Drone footage once again captures the incredible progress made today, showcasing the massive sections of the rig that have completely disappeared now. The structural engineers continuously monitor the platform using advanced laser sensors, ensuring the weight reduction is positively affecting the overall structural integrity. Their real-time data confirms that the topside demolition is successfully relieving critical stress points across the entire floating steel platform structure. The final major task of the day involves dismantling a massive steel gantry crane that previously serviced the upper drilling deck area. This towering structure requires a highly complex rigging setup utilizing multiple support cables to keep it perfectly balanced during the cutting process. Workers climb high into the air, securing their safety harnesses before igniting their plasma torches to cut through the thick support legs. Working at such extreme heights adds a massive layer of danger, requiring nerves of steel and absolute confidence in their safety equipment. Sparks fall from the sky like glowing rain, a spectacular testament to the hard work and immense bravery of these offshore demolitionists. The support legs are finally cut through. A massive logistics crane takes over, supporting the entire weight of the old gantry. Slowly and carefully, the gantry is lowered down toward the waiting logistics vessel, marking the completion of the most challenging task today. The deck workers erupt into cheers, celebrating the safe and successful removal of the massive structure without a single accident or delay. With the gantry gone, the top side of the rig is now completely devoid of any heavy machinery, looking like a barren wasteland. The mini excavators perform one final sweep of the area, picking up the last few pieces of scattered metal scrap debris. The transformation is truly incredible, turning a cluttered and chaotic industrial workspace into a clean, empty canvas ready for extensive structural repairs. The crew begins the tedious process of packing up their specialized cutting equipment, carefully coiling hoses and securing the heavy plasma generators. Every tool is meticulously cleaned and inspected before being stored away, ensuring they are perfectly ready for the next challenging demolition job. The logistics vessel sounds its loud horn, signaling that it is fully loaded and ready to transport the massive scrap pile away. It slowly pulls away from the platform, leaving behind a significantly lighter and much safer rig structure floating peacefully in the ocean. The setting sun casts long shadows across the newly cleared deck, highlighting the immense physical effort expended by the dedicated crew today. Tomorrow, a completely new team of expert structural welders will arrive to begin reinforcing the weakened steel legs of the offshore platform. But for tonight, this hard-working demolition crew can finally rest, knowing they have successfully completed a highly dangerous and complex mission. The camera pans across the empty deck one last time, emphasizing the sheer scale of the heavy machinery that was removed today. It is a powerful reminder of human ingenuity and our incredible ability to dismantle even the most massive and complex industrial structures. The ocean waves crash gently against the steel pillars below, a constant and soothing rhythm that contrasts with the noisy work above. We zoom in on a single bright spark, still glowing faintly on the metal grating, a lingering memory of the intense heat. The stars begin to appear in the darkening sky, providing a beautifully peaceful backdrop to the massive floating steel island structure below. The platform lights flicker on, illuminating the empty deck and ensuring the area remains completely safe and visible throughout the dark night. This successful topside demolition has reduced the structural weight and perfectly paved the way for a complete renovation of the entire facility. The engineering data collected during this delicate process will prove absolutely invaluable for planning future offshore dismantling projects around the entire world. Every single calculated cut and perfectly balanced lift serves as a masterclass in advanced industrial demolition techniques and extreme maritime safety protocols. Tonight, the rig stands quietly, resting peacefully after finishing a grueling day of complex offshore demolition operations and massive heavy lifting procedures. We hope you enjoyed this incredibly detailed look into the fascinating and highly dangerous world of professional offshore oil rig topside dismantling. Next week, we will observe the vital repairs needed to keep this massive offshore platform floating safely for another full decade. Thank you for watching today, and please remember to subscribe to Demolition Worker for more amazing industrial destruction content every single